Many centuries ago, in the vast taiga and along the swift rivers of the upper Yenisei lived the Kyrgyz people, a nation hardened by labor and untamed nature. These people were renowned for their endurance, their ability to tame nature, and their skill in defending their lands from enemies. But their world was not peaceful. To the south, the power of the Turkic Khaganate was rising, which saw the Kyrgyz only as tribute payers and rebels. And today I will tell you the story of Barsbek, one of the greatest rulers of the Kyrgyz, who became a symbol of the struggle for the freedom and independence of his people. You know, dear viewers, there are many videos about the history of Europe, the USA, and other countries on YouTube, but there aren't many episodes like this one. It all depends on your engagement. If the videos are popular, get a lot of views, likes, and are shared, then naturally more creators make videos on those topics. So, if you like what we do, support us with likes, shares, and of course, kind comments. And my special eternal gratitude goes to the sponsors of the channel on YouTube or Patreon. Now, on to this episode's topic. The Turkic Khaganate, a great empire stretching from the Altai to the Caucasus, brought tribes and peoples under its rule, imposing its will upon them. Its powerful rulers, such as Khagan, firmly suppressed any disobedience. The Kyrgyz, a proud and freedom-loving people, repeatedly became the target of their expansionist policies. However, in the hearts of the Kyrgyz, there was always hope to preserve their identity and one day gain independence. In the 6th century, the Kyrgyz on the Yenisei formed their own state. After the fall of the Ruran Khaganate, the Kyrgyz gained freedom for a short time. But soon, in the years 554-555, Khagan once again subjugated their lands, demanding tribute in weapons and iron. The Minasinsk Basin, rich in ore, became an important center of metallurgy and production for the Turkic Khaganate. Despite their dependence, the Kyrgyz continued. The Kyrgyz preserved their traditions and their dream of freedom. In the east, the Chinese Tang Empire used a divide-and-conquer policy, pushing the peoples of Central Asia into conflicts. The Chinese rulers supported uprisings against the Turks, but at the same time tried to restrain the strengthening of the Kyrgyz. As a result of these intrigues, the Second Turkic Khaganate emerged on the political stage, posing a threat to all its neighbors. In this complex and dangerous situation, the Kyrgyz survived by relying on the strength of their leaders and unity in the face of threats. Among them emerged Barsbek, a young leader from the legendary Aji clan. It was said that Barsbek's clan was blessed by the goddess Umay Ene, and the title Umay Bek indicated a special connection with the heavenly protectors. Barsbek lost his father young and overcame hardships with his 4 brothers. He showed early leadership but remained someone who enjoyed hunting and protecting, the simple joy of hunting with a taigan. Barsbek understood that the independence of the Kyrgyz was the only way to preserve their identity, but he also knew something else. To oppose the Second Turkic Khaganate alone was madness. Its ruler, Khagan, the heir of the glorious warriors of the steppes, turned his people into a formidable force. Their war machine, honed by continuous campaigns, was virtually invincible. Khagan himself crossed the Huanghe 6 times and plundered northern China, demonstrating the strength of the Turks to their enemies. What could Barsbek do against such power? Yes, the Kyrgyz were strong warriors, and their blacksmiths were famous for their weapons, but they lacked constant military practice and numerical superiority. Barsbek found a solution: diplomacy. He declared himself a vassal of the Tang Emperor, hoping for China's support against the Turks. An embassy was also sent to the Turgesh in Semirechye, and secretly, an embassy to Tibet was being prepared. Then Barsbek assumes the title of Khagan, giving himself the name Inanchu Alp Bilge. In this way, he equated himself with the rulers of the Turkic Khaganate. In other words, with such a bold gesture, he openly challenged them. Barsbek showed that he intended to compete with Khagan for power in Central Asia. The response from Khagan did not take long. In 693, he launched a campaign against the Yenisei Kyrgyz. However, this campaign ended in defeat. The Kyrgyz warriors repelled the attack and stopped the Turks at the borders. Forced to make peace, Khagan recognized Barsbek as Khagan and sealed the agreement with a marriage. Barsbek married Khagan's younger niece. This success strengthened Barsbek's position. His title, new ambitions, and the support of his ally all pointed to one thing: the Kyrgyz were ready to fight for their place among the great powers of Central Asia. The Kyrgyz Khagan Barsbek pursued an active foreign policy. He sent an embassy to the Tang Empire, with whom the Turks were waging a fierce war. The Kyrgyz found themselves among its allies, despite their kinship ties with the ruling Ashina clan. Barsbek also sought support in the Turkic Khaganate. Thus, in 709, Barsbek managed to create a powerful anti-Turkic alliance. In addition to the Kyrgyz, the Tang Empire and the Turkic Khaganate joined this alliance. Khagan was well aware of the growing threat from the coalition created by Barsbek. Turkic, an outstanding strategist and advisor to the Khagan, wrote, "The Turkic Khagan was our enemy. The Khagan of the 10 arrows was our enemy. But the greatest enemy was the mighty Khagan of the Kyrgyz. Enemies were everywhere, like birds of prey. We were carrion for them." The Turks did not wait long for their opponents to gather strength and decided to act proactively. Their strategy was clear: to defeat everyone one by one before the coalition turned into a single force. First of all, the Turks launched a campaign against the Kyrgyz. In 709, the troops of the Eastern Turkic Khaganate, under the command of the experienced Turkic, invaded the upper reaches of the Yenisei. During the campaign, the Chiks and Aziz tribes, allies of the Kyrgyz, were defeated. After taking key positions in Tuva, the Turks turned this territory into a springboard for further operations. The Kyrgyz blocked the main route from Tuva to the Yenisei by building a rampart in a narrow mountain gorge. The Turks couldn't breach the fortification, so the mountain passes stayed under Kyrgyz control. Barsbek believed he was safe and was waiting for help from his allies in the Tang Empire and the Turkish Turks. However, at that moment, the allies were forced to defend their own borders and could not provide effective assistance. Left alone with a formidable opponent, Barsbek tried to change his strategy. In the autumn of 710, he sent an embassy to Tibet, with which he had previously maintained diplomatic relations. The embassy was led by the experienced diplomat Eren Uluk from the Bulsar clan, who had previously carried out missions successfully and commanded great respect. The goal was to involve Tibet in active measures against the Turks and to revive the coalition with the Tang Empire. However, the opportunity was missed. Tibet did not show any initiative, and Eren Uluk himself died in Tibet under unclear circumstances. The Turkic commanders took advantage of this. Turkic devised a bold maneuver to bypass the main Kyrgyz routes through the mountain passes and to cross the Sayan range in winter. This campaign was one of the riskiest in the history of the Turks. Among the participants of the expedition were the future Khagan Bilge and his brother Kultigin. Turkic described the difficulties as follows: "I gave the order for the warriors to mount their horses. When we passed through Akramel, I ordered to set up camp. Then I ordered to move on again. I made my own path through the snow, leaning on wooden poles like the others. People went ahead and trampled down the snow. Following them, we crossed the wooded mountains. We descended with great difficulty. It took us 10 days to reach the mountainside. The guide who lost his way was stabbed to death." In the winter of 711, the Turks unexpectedly attacked the Kyrgyz. The night battle marked the first phase of the battle. "We attacked the Kyrgyz while they were sleeping. We made our way with spears, as stated in the runic monument dedicated to Kultigin." The surprise allowed the Turks to gain the upper hand. The main forces of the Kyrgyz were defeated, and many warriors lost heart. Barsbek, having gathered the remaining fighters, ordered the evacuation of families and sent them north, to the borders with the forest peoples. He led the remaining warriors to an area known as Chernisunga, where he organized the defense. For 3 days, the Kyrgyz fought desperately, repelling the onslaught of the enemy's superior forces under the command of Kultigin. Barsbek personally took part in the battle, fighting alongside the ordinary warriors. However, the odds were against them. The Kyrgyz were defeated, and Barsbek himself was killed in battle. His body was never found, The defeated could not bury him with honors, as ancient customs required. Barsbek remained in the people's memory as a hero. He defended his land and people until the very end. Barsbek played a key role in the history of the Yenisei Kyrgyz. His attempt to unite the efforts of different peoples and form a coalition against the Turks demonstrated diplomatic and political foresight. Although his plans did not come to fruition, they laid the foundation for the Kyrgyz to understand the importance of alliances and unity in the face of external threats. Barsbek remained in the people's memory as a Khagan who, despite unfavorable circumstances, showed courage and wisdom. His determination to challenge the Turks and his attempt to create a powerful coalition became an example for subsequent generations of Kyrgyz leaders. Legends about Barsbek inspired future leaders and strengthened the identity of the Kyrgyz people. After the defeat of the Kyrgyz, the Turks restored their power over the territories along the upper Yenisei. The Kyrgyz were forced to accept vassal status under the Turkic Khaganate. However, under vassalage, the Kyrgyz retained internal self-government and their own traditions. They paid tribute to the Turks, but preserved their martial and cultural traditions, which later played a key role in their revival. The Kyrgyz were able to play an active role in Central Asian affairs again only after the fall of the Turkic state in 745, when the Uyghur Khaganate became a serious threat to them. But that's a completely different story. That's all from me. Thanks for watching. See you next episode.